Welcome to the Fiat Ministry Show, episode 168. Welcome, everybody. Happy Advent, and welcome back. We're back. We're going to be definitely going next year, a little bit longer, with a more steady show. But please like us on Facebook, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just thank you for the support. I see we're doing shows Fridays, Tuesdays. I'm going to be going back to Thursday night, in starting of the new year. So we're going to try to keep it going in that situation of Thursday night at 9 p.m. As needed, live. But welcome, everybody. We're really excited to be back doing some shows. Really excited about our guest tonight. He wrote a couple Christmas books, bringing back Christmas, and we'll talk to James Conroy very shortly, and just to have him discuss why he wrote these books, how everything happened with these books, bringing the spirit of Christmas back, and also in the sense of there's a lot of things going on with I'm not going to get too political on, but with the culture today with children and bullying and all that. So we'll discuss that with one of the books. But to bring into the Christmas situation, a couple of books that he wrote. And so before that, we'll start with a quick prayer, and we'll start in the front. Lord, thank you for another just evening. Thank you for James, for his time. Just allow us to do what you want us to say. Thank you for allowing us to have this Advent season, to be patient and waiting for you, your son. And thank you again for this evening, as the Holy Spirit will work through us to share about what Christmas is all about. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. And further ado, James, I will welcome you on. How are you doing tonight, James?
I'm fine, Ken. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm really excited to have you on. I do have one of the books. I'm going to try to put it up. I know some of it's green effect, but there it is.
Little Joe's
The Little
Christmas,
Joe's
yeah.
Christmas. And I really enjoyed it, reading with the kids. And, one thing I am, wondering, writing a book, any Christmas books, but to bring really the spirit of Christmas back into a book, where did it all start for you? And how did you get involved with writing children's book, especially for Christmas? I mean, you could be doing a lot of things, but I mean, that was what touched your heart. So how did that all begin?
Well, I sort of fell into it, Ken. Again, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
I I had written a book, a big boy book on politics and economics and history, and this is a true story. This actually did happen, and I was at a Christmas party with a at a friend's house, and the little boy wouldn't go to bed. He was 5. It's 11 o'clock. I'm leaving. And I said, if you don't go to bed, I'll go home to my special phone and call Santa and say, skip this house. And he scurried off to bed. The mother, who was giving me a hug goodbye, was very grateful. And the next time I saw them, I was down there for a church recital, listening to a sister and a church Christmas sing along. And coming home, this was a year later, and coming home, he asked me, so you said you're an elf. What other duties do you have? I said I was an elf when the previous year. I said, I'm an elf. I use my special phone. He says, when's the last time you saw Santa? And I said, it was July. and we had a 20-minute quiet conversation in the back seat of his car while his father was driving and his mother was in the front seat. And he asked me all sorts of questions about how many elves, and I answered 940, and what number was you. I anticipated the questions, and I'm elf 719. And then, what do you do? And I said, I take care of one of the reindeer, Donner. And he's like, oh, 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 after every answer I gave him. And I sent him a Christmas card with Donner deer in the backyard. We have a lot of deer where I live in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad had chicken scratch writing, and he said, Dear Elf 719, these are Donner's kids, grandkids, pass it along to little Joan, remind him to, listen to his mother and behave. And he took it to school, and he won show and tell. And so that had a bit of impact on me. And the mother said, why don't you write a book since you've written another book, the Big Boy Economics History book?
Sure.
So I called my publisher and they said, sure, we can do that. And so I wrote a book, and I sort of write about issues that are in the news at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, around 2010, 11, there was a lot of eliminate Christmas in schools, call it winter solstice, call it a holiday tree. And this isn't I'm not against the Kwanzaa celebration. I'm not against Happy Hanukkah, but celebrate all three, but don't eliminate Christmas. So
right.
When he took it to school and he won show and tell, I took it upon myself to, one of the themes in the book is to say, hey, they were going to cancel Christmas celebrations in school. And he showed the principal and teachers how he got a note from Santa about the pictures of the reindeer, and all the kids cheered and said, yes, Santa and Christmas, and they couldn't cancel Christmas celebrations in school. I hate to sound political, but this isn't the winter solstice and it isn't a holiday tree. It's a Christmas tree and it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
So he saved Christmas, and that's the gist of the first book. And the second book, it's an anti-bullying. A few years later, there was a lot of stories in the news about bullying that's going on in schools. And I think we all experienced that growing up, but it seems to be a little bit more prevalent and worse now. And so little Joe stops a bullying incident in school. And in fact, his friend Colleen was starting to stop it, but she got knocked down and broke her bracelet, the necklace around her neck. And little Joe came in and stopped it. And Santa was very impressed by this, as he saw in his globe. And he had me as an elf take my sled down. And I picked him up and I took him to meet Santa at the North Pole. And there's a beautiful aerial illustration in the book of the North Pole. And Santa wanted to meet him to thank him about stopping the bullying incident.
Mm.
And he gave him sort of like a challenge coin you see in the military about, Santa Claus and, stop bullying. He says, you have to spread the word, Joe, because there's so much bullying going on. If you don't stop it, I may have to cancel Christmas. So you take this coin and you show it to the kids back when you get home to stop the bullying. And he, I took him back. He was home in time for dinner. And if there was ever a future bullying incident, he was to show the coin in proof that Santa Claus gave him this to say, stop the bullying. And at the very end, there's a nice present under the tree that no one knows where it came from. but you opened it up and there was a little bracelet necklace that replaced what Colleen had broken trying to stop the bullying, sort of a proof that Santa knew what was going on and
Um,
knew it was to replace. And there's a little bit of a, I want to say, an adult theme.
yeah,
There's a budding romance between the teacher
yeah, yeah,
and the elf. So when a parent or grandparent reads this to their kids or grandkids, they understand and enjoy the story of meeting Santa, but the adults sort of enjoy the budding romance that's
yeah.
happening between the teacher and the elf.
Well,
So it
well,
appeals to everyone and it sends a
yeah.
good message. And
Well,
it's a nice story.
right, and that's one thing that I noticed about reading the book with my kids and all that. It was something about having a Christmas book that had some purpose in the sense of not. I mean, I understand Santa Claus and the reindeer, and we got Frosty, and there's a lot of great books for kids to explore and imagine, but this has some substance that actually matters in especially around this time. I mean, with everything that's going on, as we're not going to get into political stuff, but it's just a lot of things that are happening in the situation of children trying to go through I mean, on top of everything
Trying
else,
time.
it's the trying times, and to
Yeah.
have a book that kind of gets into that depth as a Christmas book is really not, it's great to have that kind of, new outlook of a Christmas story into a realistic kind of situation that's happening, in the world right now. And in, with, because yeah, of course, bullying, I mean, that's one thing I took about that book, because, everybody in a sense got bullied when they were younger in some way. I mean, there was something that happened, and
Right.
that,
Verbally
yeah,
or
right,
verbally or physically.
right,
Absolutely. I've
and
experienced, and I'm a big guy.
yeah, the same here. I'm a big guy too, and we're big, but there's that doesn't mean that they don't, But I think with the faith, in the sense of understanding that, what Christmas is all about, like for the first book, and then to bring, I think those are two big important things, like you were saying, that are really still kind of not it's not going to go anywhere, because I think there's always going to be someone that's going to try to pull away from what the real meaning of Christmas is, and to understand that
Well,
all of
we're a
this.
Christian nation, Ken. I mean,
Yeah,
I think I said to you one time in the past, the first words of the Mayflower Compact were in the name of God, amen.
yeah,
So whatever religion you are, we do celebrate Christian values.
right,
And there's a lot of different religions that adhere to the Christian values. And there's even some, Muslim or Islamic or Jewish uh, um, adherences to a faith and a way of life that are similar to the Christian way of life.
mm,
And so we don't want to eliminate our Christian values. And so to keep Christmas in schools, which we've been doing for, since the Pilgrims arrived in 1620, we want to keep the Christmas spirit alive. This is not the time for the holiday tree. This is not the time for winter solstice. This is the Christmas season. And my
yeah,
book reflects that. And the second book is, basically just be a kind, helpful person. Generous is generous with your time or money or whatever charity, but uh, you want to be kind, and being kind means you're not going to bully. So you stop the bullying, you be kind, and you be helpful and saying, what a Christian outlook, what can I do to help you, you know, uh, get along in today's society?
Yeah. Right.
Just your, you got someone that has a flat tire, stop. What can I do? You reach out, what can I do?
Right.
And that's sort of the anti-bullying. You stop this, and you try and teach kids to not bullying anymore.
Hmm.
And because it's sad to see when they're 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. They can have a very deep impact on kids at that age. Um, so that's what I wrote about. It was in the news.
Yep.
When the book it came out in 16, I was writing it in 14 and 15, and you see this stuff in the news. So I'm just writing and reflecting what I see in society, saying, you know, stop this, and how can we stop this? So I try to come up with a book to say, here, maybe if a kid read this book or a parent read this book to their child, they may learn that this is not the way to act in school.
Right. No, and that's a great point, and I appreciate that, James. And everybody can find the books. It's through Amazon, but the best way I want to bring over your website. It's jamesfconroy.com, and you
Yes.
can get all the two books over there.
Yeah, just
And yeah.
exactly, Ken. www.jamesfconroy.com.
Yep.
The page should come up, and
Yep.
there's a link to purchase the books. And I think the parents will enjoy reading the books because it can resonate with them, and it can also resonate with your child. And there's more to come. There's the two books, and there's 3, 4, and 5, because the first book was when little Joe was 5, and the second book was when he was about 9. And we had to go through the teenage years and the young
Yeah.
adult. So there's 3 more books at least to come.
That's awesome. And really, and you're welcome back to share about those books, and we'll be putting all your links and everything in the show notes. Um, is there anything else that, from the books and, this time of year that you want to get out of, for the children? I know you kind of explain, but I think one thing that I really, and humbled to say to to having a book like this, you know there's something when you're sharing a Christmas story with your children that they can take from and grow and share maybe with their peers, and to understand, especially on the side of the bullying side, and that's little Joe's Christmas. um I think that I really want to thank you for that, because that was one of the things, talking afterwards with my children, you know to understand that it's it's there in their, I mean, I know they're young. I mean, one's in fifth grade, one in third grade, one's in kindergarten. So he's really not even really understanding that much. But the two older ones, they're they're getting into friendships and trying to figure out who are, people that they want to be around, to be friends with, and they want to all be friends. But as things go up in the teenage, because that's going to be kind of interesting to kind of grow up with the books that you're going to share, in the future as teenagers. How are my kids going to, take those books, and, because I think reading, they love to read. And so it doesn't matter, because these are kind of, in the sense, more of a book or a series of books that have a point that that children can get, and as adults, like you're sharing, that you're saying it's for any
Yeah.
age. And so I really
So
appreciate
Ken,
that. Thank you.
Ken, you're absolutely right. I mean, the books, the first one is to, keep Christmas in schools. And there's too many people in this country that, love Christmas. They don't want it to go away. It doesn't mean that we don't embrace other religions. It's just that we just don't want Christmas to be eliminated. And the bullying aspect, that's a big part, Kent, where parents can only do so much, and the kids are at school for 6 hours, 7 hours, however long. And it takes kids to understand, and which is why I wrote the second book and the coin to say, you know, uh, you tell your friends, one person like little Joe tells his friend to stop bullying, and they stop the bullying, and they they introduce kindness and compassion and understanding. Not everyone comes from the same background, and I'm touching on that in my third book. And just to be kind, and there's no reason to bully, and you all want to get along, and to see kids at 8, 9, and 10, argue and fight. I know that's typical and that's going to happen to a minor degree. That's sort of acceptable and good in a sense, but in the big picture, you don't want fights, you don't want brawls, you don't want huge divisions. You
Right.
just, you know, uh, and that's why I sent the coin, because little Joe could spread it to his friend, and he tells a friend, and that friend tells a friend. So, it goes from this group of kids that are involved in this activity, could be music, and the kid that started it, and little Joe, could be in athletics or science, but it sort of consumes the school, and that's sort of the point. So
No, and I appreciate that, and thank you very much for your time tonight. I
welcome,
know
Ken.
I'm definitely want you to come back, especially when those are ready to go as published and all that. But I just want to wish you a very happy Merry Christmas, and just have a great Christmas time. Bring Christmas back into your household wherever you're at. I think
Right.
that's one thing that we need to more than ever right now is what is the reason for the season every day,
Exactly.
and we know what it is, and we just have to share that, and that's what the Fiat Ministry
That's what I
Network.
that's what I wrote about, Kenton. Thank you for doing this, and Merry Christmas, and any viewers out there, Happy Kwanzaa,
Yeah,
Happy Hanukkah. I've already
yeah,
wished my friends Happy Hanukkah. It started
yeah,
last week.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyways, be
Well,
good, and thank you, Ken.
yeah, thank you,
Merry
and
Christmas.
yeah, Merry Christmas, and for everybody, we'll be back next year. I'm going to be kind of getting everything ready. We're revamping a lot of stuff on the website and getting everything kind of prepared for 2022. We got kind of hit earlier last year or coming up into this year with things that are out of my control with a big video platform that we are on, but we have to revamp everything. So I'm working on that. We're really excited about a lot of things. There's a couple of videos that we're going to be working with Patrick Hart Ministry, trying to really dive into the Shroud of Turin, a couple other series that we're going to be bringing out. So we're really excited. And until next year, I will see you all. And God bless and good night.